Another day, another self-deprecating smile. Okay, so the first line, another day, another self-deprecating smile. So the way that I kind of felt like this emotion is essentially just like me waking up and being like, just try to get through the day, just put on a smile, and even though you feel like a piece of shit and everything is fucking awful, just keep on smiling and just keep on going, essentially. Just putting on that like mask, essentially. Like putting on that face, like, okay, let's just get through this day, and yeah, life sucks, but oh well, essentially. If that makes any sense. But I just wanted to set up the stage of like this idea of like just trying to be like, or things not being what it is. Like a smile doesn't always mean that someone's happy, right? So yeah, okay. Next line. Another strike out the way I live my life, yeah, add it to my file. Okay. So that part, sorry, let me run it back really fast so you can see it on the screen. Another strike at the way I live my life, yeah, add it to my file. So essentially that's just essentially people would kind of like I don't think it's hard to explain. Like, I don't think they weren't like directly trying to like criticize certain things that I was doing. I don't think they were like trying to subtly, like passively aggressively say like, oh, you're doing this, like that's fucking weird, or like that's like strange but okay kind of thing, right? And I feel like I wanted, like, this line to me is like how I felt about like, oh yeah, here's just another reason why like I'm a piece of shit person. So yeah, just add it to my file, yo. It's my file, the government file. Why Kōri-Oujo needs to be stopped. There you go. But yeah, that's kind of what the line is hinting at here. Yeah, next line. Cause the negativity is the only thing they wanna see. How did they know praying on my kindness was the only key? Okay, sorry. Okay, so the lines, because the negativity is the only thing they want to see. So that is essentially, I feel like through my like VTubing career so far, I think like when I do like certain things, I just feel like people ignore things that are positive, right? And they focus on things that's negative. And I think that goes just for like drama in general. And it's like, it's so much easier to pick on like the negative things than to think and understand the positive, right? So that's okay, it makes sense, but I think it's just really tough when like you're already like, I was in a position where I was already like beating myself up, so like it really sucked when other people were just like, you know, essentially kicking me while I was already down, right? So yeah, I just think it sucks, as just that there's only like there's only like this they only focus on things that I did wrong, if that makes any sense. Like, I've had, for example, when I like closed DMs for the first time, I think a lot of people saw that as a really negative reaction. And I think a lot of people from me doing that decided like I'm a shit person and stopped talking to me. And at the end of the day, that's fine. Like, they stopped supporting me, and like that's okay. I think at the end, like, I'm so much more happy now that like I've like not that those people have essentially dropped off, and like I'm with the people that are more authentic and actually care about my content, I guess. So that I'm happy about that now for sure. But yeah, and the next line. So this is essentially I'm whenever there's like people being like a-holes to me, I really try not to like be rude. And I think this also goes towards like your streamer persona as well, like preying on the fact that the way that you act on stream, and it's again just like this thing where it's like I'm not always this like happy-go-lucky and cheerful and shit like that, and attentive to people like on stream as I am off stream. And it's like I feel like people prey on this, like what they think is you, and they prey on like, well, if you are mean to me, then I'm gonna fucking expose the shit out of you, you know. And I'm like always so scared of that. And so for me, it was kind of just like I also like was too scared, I think, most of the time to be like, hey, I don't like this, no. You know what I mean? It's so hard to say no sometimes. And so when things happened, it kind of just felt like people were taking advantage of like my kindness in some sense, or if not kindness, like my streamer persona in some sense. And it sucked. And it was just like a way for them to get under my skin, unfortunately. But it did kind of work at that time. It doesn't work anymore, but yeah. Next line. Oh, wait. There we go. They think I'm living some fairy tale. They think I'm living some beautiful arc. So, yeah. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like the chorus is pretty self-explanatory, but it's kind of just like, I wanted the idea of like someone living this fairy tale like dream, somebody thinking that someone else is living this fairy tale dream when really they're not. And this coincides with like Kōri as a character as well, because Kōri has been obviously isekai'd from Earth into this, you know, the body of an ice princess who lives on this weird universe called Xylon, right? And I think, you know, when we watch like isekai anime, usually isekais are very like harem-y, like, oh, this guy gets isekai'd and now he has like 6 girlfriends and shit. But which is just, I'm not about that, but okay. And they're very like, heck yeah, like the underdog gets to get all this power finally, right? But I think if an isekai was to really happen, I actually feel like that would be really scary and isolating, especially for someone like human Kōri or Earth Kōri, because you know, she was like just this angsty teen, this meme lord angsty teen, and just gets like fucking isekai'd into a position of power, like Ice Princess royalty. And I think that's like, on the outside that could look like, oh shit, that's such a cool story, like this is gonna be like some cool, you know, fairy tale, right? Like it's gonna be this cool anime, this isekai anime. But like in reality, like for the person who's experiencing it, it's actually, I think, would be very emotional, because it's like you're literally being transported into a different world. You don't know the language, you don't know like the physics, the way science and things like that work. It's like a complete like alien universe, right? And I would assume that feel really like isolating, because you don't have anyone to turn to as well. There's no one that you can confide into, and you're completely disconnected from like what you are used to, and disconnected from what grounded you as a human in the first place. So I think people, as far as like from the outside looking in, people would probably assume that Kōri is like living this fairy tale arc, right? Because it's like she's able to become a princess and have like magical ice powers, but in reality that's not how she feels, and she's just completely cut off. So and it's just kind of something similar to my streaming experience, where I feel like there's again this disconnect where people believe that, oh, because I've been like, I stream for 30 days, that I'm suddenly like, I'm gonna be like this hot shot. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for like the growth that I have had, but it's there has been struggles. It's not always, you know, picture perfect. I think a lot of people saw like my success in the early days, and they really felt like I was like just lucky. And I think like it's not always about being lucky. Like, yeah, luck has some fucking factor in it, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a lot of hard work too, and like it's hard work that, you know, I just don't really talk about, and I don't really feel like I should have to talk about, because it's like I work hard so that way it seems like a seamless experience, you know, like none of you need to know all of the scripts that I wrote or whatever for the MVs that are coming out, but because it's fucking lame. Because it's lame. But it is like but when you see, what you guys see is this pretty MV, but what I see is a lot of fucking spreadsheets and documents and images and folders of assets that I had to put together and ideas and stuff like that, and then, you know, time, energy, money, communication with the commissioner. So like, again, it's just like this outside, like this picture perfect thing is really just not. That's just like what the entire story's about, really. And again, just like people seeing me on stream being happy and having fun, making jokes, being crackhead raccoon. I love it. I do. But I go through my own, like, behind the VTuber, I go through like my own struggles, everyday struggles. I have mental health issues, as everyone does, and has mental health days. So yeah, essentially, it's not always, everything is not always what it seems, okay? Stole that from a from a fucking Disney show. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. Anyway, let me continue. If this is my story to tell, why are you trying to write it for me? So, okay. So this part, also pretty self-explanatory, but essentially obviously y'all know that before like all this, I do like writing a lot. I mean, I fucking, you know, went to university and graduated with an English degree. So writing is like my fucking thing, all right? So obviously I love that writing imagery, but obviously we're talking about a fairy tale, so like usually you read books, fairy tale books, right? And then in general, like I just feel like it goes back to the point of like people making up these expectations for who I am, expectations for who I am on and off stream, and it's like, well, why are you trying to create a version of me that doesn't exist, essentially? Like, this is my streaming experience and like the way that I want to entertain people. So why are you trying to like make it into something that's not, essentially? And to like for example, like I am a crackhead raccoon ice princess, but why would anyone, but then people come in and say, oh, the dog tuber. I'm just kidding. Although that did kind of happen. Anyway, but you know, it's just kind of like, you know, I'm doing something here. And so like, it kind of sucks when people make these expectations or come in with these like thinking that one thing when I'm not that, essentially. And again, just like not wanting to, like, instead of accepting the fact that I might be a person behind this anime girl, it's like, instead of accepting that, you're kind of just like, oh, well, there's no way that she has any problems. It's like, no way that she has mental health issues. You know what I mean? Because she's so fine and having fun and stuff like that. It's like, well, I do. Another night where their words seem to hit harder. Okay. So, this is also pretty, like, similar to, like, the first line. It's just like, oh, great, like, I'm scrolling through, like, Twitter or, like, through DMs, and then, like, I see this fucking shit, and I'm like, damn it. Essentially. And it's just like, you know, there's a fucking saying where it's like, you know, your words can't fucking hurt me. But I think mentally it does hurt me sometimes. So, there's that. I think people really don't get the weight of their words sometimes. And it's just like, I don't even get, like, why is it that isn't there like a common saying, like, if you have nothing good to say, then just don't say anything? I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's another train wreck of a topic. But essentially, yeah, I just had a lot of times when as I was like, writing the album, obviously, and getting to the point where I'm at now, I think really like there is just so many times when I just really it stuck in my head a little too much than it should have. People who were rude to me or it had been rude to me, or even just people in general, like on social media. And it's like so much better now that I'm like not on it as much, and I highly recommend it for those of you who are suffering. But yeah, essentially, it's what it is. Anyway, next line. Woo! Another time where so-called friends make their departure. Oh gosh, here we go again, talking about parasocial relationships, aka streamer versus viewer relationships. Anyways, no, I'm just joking. Yeah, I think this is also something that had very much pushed me to stop using the term friend to address a lot of people, or just people in general. Like, I think it's really difficult because, like, I had people who wanted to be my friend, claimed to be my friend, and just, like, when things got rough, they didn't, it's not like I'm expecting anybody to help me, but, like, I had this one person who essentially felt like everything was their fault, and, like, I understand that's probably, like, a mental health issue as well, and I'm not, like, mad at them for that by any means, but it just kind of, like, it just kind of bothered me because it feels like you're not taking into consideration that, like, I might have actually been going through stuff that is, like, has nothing to do with you. And they, like, had made it a big deal, brought it to, like, public places, and it just was, like, very uncomfortable for me. And that's just something that, like, you know, I feel like a so-called friend wouldn't do. But in general, it's just one of those moments where you're going through a tough time and people who said that they support you are gone. So, yeah, which is kind of something that I go over in the next lines. You'll hear that. You'll hear that here. You said you'd support me through the thick and thin, so why you acting now like it's a sin? So yeah, that's what that's about. Essentially, I kind of just explained that. But yeah, it's just like, you know, people saying that, like, yeah, I'm your friend, and, like, I want you to be happy, and I'll do anything I can to, like, support you. And then, like, when I actually need that support, you're, like, ignoring it like the plague. I'm just kidding. But essentially, you're just, like, trying to stay away from it and thinking that it's like, hell no, me help you? No. So that's kind of like what that's about. Yeah. Here we go. Woo! Trauma! Wow! You only hit me up to tell me that you're striving. Yeah, I'm happy for you, but I'm barely surviving. I really like these lines because it just resonates with me too much, like, personally, like, not just from, like, VTubing, but just, like, from real life experiences, you know what I mean? Anyway, I feel like, yeah, I had a lot of people just, like, ignore, like I say, ignore, like, when I needed support, ignore it, and then, and I want to just preface, like, say as well, like, you know, I don't expect people to be there for me all the time, because I know that I can't always be present for people all the time, but I think it's just, like, when it's over and over again, this just kind of sucks. Anyway. So, the line, you only hit me up to tell me that you're striving is, like, just too fucking, it's too real, honestly. Like, I really just have so many people just, like, talk to me about, like, all the amazing things they're doing and stuff like that, and it's, like, they don't ask about my day, they don't care, essentially. Like, I don't know, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but I think, like, when it's very, like, when I've, like, talked about it publicly that I'm going through a tough time, and this is obviously hasn't happened recently, but I publicly talk about going through a tough time and, like, it's continuously, like, ignored or, like, not reciprocated, like the support is not reciprocated, essentially. It definitely kind of sucks, and it sucks when it's, like, almost, like, feels like you're constantly being rubbed in your face that, like, things are, like, so, like, pretty and perfect, for them, but it's not, it's being tough for me. I'm going through a tough time, man. Anyway, And then the lines are explaining like, yeah, I'm happy for you. I hope that everything is okay and that you're awesome, you stay awesome and stuff. But I need time to like be my own person. I need to like be able to support myself before I can give my full support to you. And I'm also just like, you know, wishing that I had that kind of support as well. So they think I'm living some fairy tale. They think I'm living some beautiful arc. If this is my story to tell, why are you trying to write it for me? They think I'm living some fairy tale. They think I'm living some beautiful arc. If this is my story to tell, why are you trying to write it for me? I can't believe you have the audacity to act like you're right, fly in your kite, clear blue skies. Okay, so brief explanation on those on that line. Let me back it up a little bit. Back it up, dump truck. Anyway, sorry. Essentially, it's kind of similar to what I was saying earlier. Obviously, it's all connected, but it's kind of just like, I can't believe that like you're out here like frolicking in the fields and thinking that you're like in the right for everything, and like kind of like literally like just setting these expectations for me as a person, and just like, yeah, that's who Kōri is, and like this is all Kōri's ever gonna be. And like, oh yeah, I can't believe that people actually like do that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but it exists. There's some very opinionated people out there, and that's okay. But I think it just sucks when you have to deal with it so constantly when you're like an entertainer or like a streamer, and you have to deal with it live. I think that's even the worst. The worst part is like dealing with it live, because it's like, it can be hard to like hold back emotions or like respond appropriately in that moment when you're being like instinctually emotional. There you go. That was a good way to put it. Wow, I have a way with words. Anyway, let me continue. Meanwhile, I find myself inflicted war, my throat going sore. The heart that you tore will slowly restore it. Whoops, sorry, I thought I was muted. Okay, sorry. Let me talk about that, like, before... Fucking... Okay, sorry. I don't know, it's just broken up so weirdly. Anyway, talking about, yeah, self-inflicted war, my throat going sore. Essentially, it's just talking about the things that, like, my mental health state that I was in, like, prior. When this was happening. When I wrote the song, my mental health was not there. And I was definitely like, I felt like, you know, throat going sore is just a sense of like, you know, crying a lot. You know what I mean? That's like the imagery or feeling of like when you cry a lot or like when you scream. So screaming is appropriate for me. But yeah. And then hard to use Tor will slowly restore. Essentially like I will heal from like what had happened. And I did, obviously. I'm here still, so let's go. And I think the next line is, once you're out of my life, I will, right? So let's go ahead and get into that. Slowly restore it. Once you're out of my life, I will live this wonderful fairy tale. I will live this beautiful art. Your story is an empty shell, and mine was just waiting to start. Okay, so essentially, there you go. There you go. There you go. That's like just a transition that I had in my VTubing career where I kind of just like, fuck it. No more, essentially. And I decided like, you know, I'm gonna write, obviously it's like talking about my own story, right? Just like making, like knowing that like this is, everything that I'm doing is in my control. And I just need to like own up to that and take responsibility for what I want and aspire to do. And if people want to have those preset expectations, then, you know, bye, essentially. Like that's not who I am. So bye, you know, you'll be gone. So that's lit anyway. And just saying that I'm going to grow from it. And that is definitely what happened. And I'm so like thankful for that revelation that I had, essentially. And I like saying your story is an empty shell. I'm just waiting to start. I think that was cute. I just think it was cute. It's a cute line. And obviously, like, saying, like, you know, if you keep living your life that way of, like, believing, like, being so heavily opinionated and believing one thing and, like, not considering other, not reflecting upon your actions, not being open to other perspectives, like, that kind of sucks. I don't know. Like, you're missing out on a lot, I feel like. In my opinion, you may be missing out on a lot of different ideas and perceptions of life itself. Woo! Anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much, that's the song, essentially. Obviously, that ends. Peep the harmony, bro.